to really understand from your point of view what Artificial Leap and the Rob framework is, and yeah, what you're looking to do with this organization.
Uh, yeah, so Rob framework want to make a robot. In the long term, it can be a more generic one, but for now, we're aiming for the farmers and connect and helping them with their farms for the surveillance and detections of thing of if something goes wrong anyway. And the Rob framework will work with the platform that we're working as well, that the farmers will be able to upload their data from their farms, and Rob framework will be doing it in real time with update. And then users they will be able to donate to the farms in case the farm has less crops produced than the ones they thought they would, or if they had issues, etc.
Okay. And when we first talked about it, you were saying something around like MPC technology and how MPC technology is able to map out
Yeah, that's for
farmland.
the framework. Uh, then the technology will be the one to moving the robot around, uh, and the robot through the cameras will be mapping uh, what it will be seeing, as well as doing some computer vision to detect diseases, as I mentioned before, and detecting their quality, issues with the light, etc.
Okay. Um, and so far, why have you started this project now? What sort of environmental conditions and um, triggers have made it to where you wanted to pursue this project at this point in time?
Uh, Generally, here because of the heat and the extreme heat most of the year, or the rains, etc. Many farms are having issues, and sometimes they can detect that a little late
Hmm.
and not be able to save it. Also, if a farmer has issues with their crops, they lose their income as well. And that's why it's the platform as well, so the users can help with this part.
Okay. And uh, how are you thinking about introducing Rob framework to the farmers? And yeah, how would you be able to start integrating these robots into farm practices?
Uh, yeah, that's actually, we haven't thought much about this actually yet, because we've been aiming to finish the prototype first to be able to show better the capabilities of it.
Mm.
Yeah, it's and to finish the prototype, it's very difficult in Greece because we don't have all the components. So we have many delays to find the components and build it.
So, what are some examples of these components that you're missing?
Now, for now, I want to connect the API to be with a battery. So I
Mm.
haven't to plug in the plug on my own office, and I need the regulator voltage to can convert the 12 volts of the battery to 5 volts and give power to Raspberry. To find this regulator, it's difficult because in our town we don't have many shops. It's like a big village, so
Mm.
we have many delays.
Yeah, we had to order one from a town that is kind of far, and it's been taking a while to arrive.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
So we have some delays.
Yeah. Totally understandable. And I think I reviewed some of your GitHub yesterday, and it said like showed some of the components I think on the GitHub as to what the robot would be made of, and
Yeah.
yeah, so you have that list of components and an idea as to how those would fit together. Um, so for Rob Framework, you're going to be doing both the software side and the hardware side, or is it going to be that you focus on mainly the software or mainly the hardware after development of it?
Both actually. And for the software, it will be fully open source. For the hardware, well, because it's not easy to make it open source, we are writing the documentation and everything on how to set everything up, where to find uh, the components, etc.
Okay. And with a open source model like this, how are you thinking of being able to make any revenue or money and being able to really grow your organization?
We will be also selling the robots as well in because the hardware part can't be really, I mean, except the documentation, we can't do anything else to help. So we'll be selling the robots as well with everything set up. And sorry,
Nice. That sounds great.
and for the software part, uh, we haven't really thought about this actually, but um, we will be making different models, so we might sell some of them as well.
Mm. You'll be making different models of the software.
Models I meant for computer vision and,
Okay.
or even expose APIs to users like ChatGPT is now. I mean,
Um,
with Effie.
yeah. And the primary way you're thinking of raising these funds to support your business is through equity right now, or are you going to do like a crypto token, or what's the thought process there?
Uh, we haven't really thought about the crypto token. For now, we're thinking about equity, but the crypto token could work as well.
Okay. Um, and yeah, I was able to do a little bit of background yesterday on myself for you, Alexandro. But I can rehash my background, and yeah, we can do a little background sharing as to who each of us are. That way we get to know each other a little bit better. My name
Okay.
is TR, or Terexitarius online, and my background is environmental. Before the pandemic, I was a Peace Corps volunteer living in Paraguay for 2.5 years. So I lived in a little small rural village in a developing country. And there I was trying to get people paid, especially smallhold farmers, for the trees that were on their property. And this was done initially through the Red Plus government carbon credit program. And I found out that there was a lot of problems with that program to be able to support smallhold farmers. So I ended up pivoting trajectory and did my master's research down in Paraguay. And my master's research was around how deforestation was impacting the entire ecosystem around a beautiful lake called Curry, and the economic impact of this deforestation. So did this master's research and then returned to the States. And after returning to the States, I got the research published and found that there was little uh, real change that happened from my master's research. So I became a little disheartened, and coming back into the States, it was in the beginning of the pandemic, and I really didn't want to work as like a window washer or anything like that. So I started trading stocks and did really well with trading stocks, and then went into cryptocurrency. And with crypto, I really found that these tokens can be new economic building blocks for futures and realities we want to see, and launched my first token, which helped to plant 5,000 trees in a 2-month time frame. And that was 5,000 trees all over the world. And then uh, from that action, I was able to connect with other individuals in the cryptocurrency world that helped me to build my vision, an organization out to where it is now. And this organization is really around increasing and maintaining native ecosystems around the world. So have that organization, and at the same time, I advise for various other organizations. And one of them, for example, is called Francine Farms, and Francine has over $1 billion worth of land value under their umbrella. And it's Francine Farms. What they're doing is they're distributing funds to farmers to transition to regenerative and sustainable forms of agriculture. And in return for this funding, farmers are selling the right to the metaverse layer of those farms. And with that, we're able to make a return on investment as an organization. And yeah, there's various other connections that I have to the world of agriculture. And yeah, I'm very interested in terms of data collection. And around a year ago, created an organization that is around decentralized monitoring, reporting, and verification of regenerative actions and the benefits from them. So how do you collect the data that backs that a tree's been planted in a trust minimized way, or that sort of thing? And yeah, I came across your organization through that organization, and yeah, I was really interested with what you are developing there.
It's nice. Personally, I've been a programmer for years. In the past, I've been mostly working on games as a game developer. And lately, the last 2 years, I think, I've been focusing on artificial intelligence and mostly computer vision and natural language processing. And lately, I've started as well working with blockchain projects as well.
Okay,
Nice.
my turn.
Yeah.
Okay. Your background, guys, is wonderful, but mine is not. Because for many years I work I don't know the word. I think I work with fridges, air conditioner, and for 6 years I think, and I like to fix things or build things from zero. And so when this opportunity came 1 year ago with Alex, I grab it. So I work on this project and I like it. I um, so much things about from Alex, and we decided to build this robot to help the farmers and make the life for them easier with this robot. And the project is very in early stage for now. It's like 2.5 weeks, I think, and that's from me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Being a builder and a mechanic like that is definitely helpful when you're trying to build out a robot and yeah, all that.
Yeah.
So with your organization, what gap do you feel is this organization is trying to fulfill? Like, where do you see the gaps in terms of support for farmers, and what is Rob Framework going to be trying to aim for?
Sorry, could you repeat?
Yeah. So when you're addressing this entire landscape of support for farmers, where do you see the gap for support to farmers? And where are you trying to address this with Rora Framework?
Uh, I'm not really sure.
So, uh, have you been able to identify other organizations that have agricultural robots uh, and how those robots are assisting
Oh, we haven't done much research outside of Greece, but mostly here. Uh, Actually, yeah, we need to do more. I mean, the outside. But
farmers?
here, there aren't really much technology used in the farming industry, except, I mean, the tractors, etc. But automation and stuff like that aren't used at all right now. That's
Yeah,
why,
And
and Greece have a lot of farms and fields,
yeah,
so the robots will be very helpful for them.
mm,
The difficult thing for this is to make people not uh,
understand.
yeah, the, the
Yeah,
technology and how technology can help them,
we
yeah,
because
agree.
is very behind. I don't know the words.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's some years ago.
yeah.
do you think this is going to be a problem with getting farmers to adopt robots for their farms, or have you like made personal connections with some of the farmers to where it might facilitate the adoption?
We have actually a friend that is working in the farming industry.
Yeah.
He
Mm,
has some farms in our town, and generally we will aim at first in the farmers that are around our age that understand technology better, and with them we will be able to target the older farmers as well.
okay. Yeah, that's a great testing ground for the MVP. Would be just getting the friends that you know have connections to farmland uh, and being able to implement there. Um, and right now, in terms of the entire framework, you're uh, not really thinking, or are you thinking about the adoption of Web3 technologies such as like decentralized data storage or um, data markets in terms of Rob framework?
We haven't thought actually how to fit it directly in the robot itself,
Hmm.
but the platform for the donations and the farmers' data will be fully based on Web3 and decentralized.
Okay.
We
Uh,
will just connect the robot framework with the platform afterwards. So
hmm.
the data from the robots will be automatically
Okay.
updated.
Um, and have you thought about being able to collaborate with an organization like Giveth, where Giveth or like Ethic Hub potentially, um, where those organizations are supporting uh, Rob framework?
I actually read about Giveth today,
Oh,
and I
nice.
was planning to create a project inside about the
Yeah,
web framework.
yeah, really. The Giveth token economics and the entire organization is pretty spectacular. I really, yeah, love Giveth, um, especially with what it does for the surrounding, the entirety of the public good community in the world. Um, in terms of your organization,
Yeah.
where do you think you're going to have impact? The agricultural and food industry, and uh, that's your primary target is the agricultural and food industry. Would do you want to expand outward from there, or do you think you're going to hone in your focus primarily on agricultural and food?
Actually, personally, at least, I would be okay with either staying in agriculture and food industry, but also would love to increase the potentials of the robot as well to be able to give it more functions and make it more humanoid-like as well.
Okay. What could you expand upon that? What does that mean?
Right now, and generally for the MVP at least, it will be working with wheels and will be like a car moving around. And it, what I would like at least, I mean, in the future, because of course it'll be really harder to make hands and legs actually like a human and give memories and the option to talk and respond.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, that'd be very interesting if that was able to be done.
Yeah.
And initially, your focus area for this project, you're thinking is going to be Greece, or have you thought of like the target market in which you're trying to approach there?
We've started with Greece because we have more connections here in the farm industry, so we can run more tests easily.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
great.
then we would like to expand.
Um, and when you have your MVP ready and it's out in the field detecting things, how would you like to measure your impact as an organization? Would it be like the number of plants detected with illnesses? The Yeah, how would you really measure this impact, you think?
What do you mean?
So in terms of the benefit provided by the robot, uh, what would be those benefits? Like, is it the number of plants detected that are sick? The amount of farmland mapped out? Yeah, what are some of these benefits that the ROB framework might provide, and how would you measure those?
Oh, the main will be, as we mentioned, yeah, the detection of sick plants, but also detection of if there is a fire or if there is an outside animal that came inside. Generally, detections of things that can affect the farm
Hmm.
in a bad way, and the mapping would come second.
Okay. Um, and in terms of the current traction, you're 2.5 weeks old. Uh, yeah. How is the traction of the organization so far?
We haven't really talked to other people about that yet. I mean, except some friends, and uh, yeah, we haven't really done much about this part yet. We wanted to have something showable first
Hmm.
to be able
Yeah.
to get a better opinion as well.
Nice. Yeah. And being able to have the code bases on GitHub where people can review that is very important. And yeah, from there, it'd be, I think, uh, yeah, better able to get your traction with social media and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's publicizing that. And in Greece, you say there's a lack of technology in farm areas. And
Generally, actually, not only.
yeah, uh, are there any competitors to your organization, you think?
In Greece?
Yeah.
As far as I know, no, there aren't.
No, no.
Okay.
Most here, most companies are focusing in the tourism area, and there are really many companies that are working with technology. And most of the ones I know, they are most focusing on mobile games and applications.
Hmm. Uh, is there government support for technology development in Greece?
No,
Okay.
unfortunately.
And then in the broader global community, have there been any organizations that you've seen that really have inspired this sort of thought process?
No, no,
Okay,
I don't think so.
cool. Um, so with robots addressing farmland and the entirety of the collection of data, are there regulatory concerns that you need to be addressing? So, are there potential concerns from the law or policy side in Greece around data collection and how it's handled?
Right now, there aren't. There is the. I don't remember exactly the name. The Europe-based one that the user just needs to agree about their data getting collected. But
Hmm.
other than that, there isn't anything else more specific in Greece.
Okay. And in terms of the European based regulation, do you have ideas on how you're going to be able to address those?
Yeah, basically, we will the owner user sorry of the robot when will deploy it will have to agree that the data of the farm will be collected and shared.
Okay. And if the farmer is agreeing to that and they're selling the data, so Rob Framework would likely collect a percent of the monetary gain from that data being sold, and then the farmer would get a percent of that monetary gain as well.
Yeah,
Okay. Um, and earlier, one of the big problems you said is the lack of components to be able to create this robot. Are there any other big problems that you've been encountering so far?
and no, there haven't been.
Okay.
Yeah, we have always been having issues with funding and this part, but we haven't focused yet on this. So I mean,
Hmm.
yet.
Great.
But we have no idea about generally about this.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and that's an entire learning process and learning journey that the organization will go through is like finding all these different problems and figuring out how they can be overcome. Uh, in terms of past workflow for yourselves as individuals, when you come across problems, what are some of the approaches that you have been able to use to overcome these problems?
What do you mean? Sorry.
So, for example, uh, when you found that there was a scarcity or lack of components for the robots, and that problem was encountered, uh, the way that you were able to deal with those problems, with that problem in particular, was sourcing from another city or
Yeah.
another area.
Generally, we've been collecting. When we found the issue, actually, we've made a list of every component and we've ordered everything together so it will come faster rather than ordering part by part when we need it. So we can have everything at once.
Nice. So making sure that you have the supply.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Uh, so with being such a new organization, the monetary amount that you've been able to contribute to this project has come from your own finances.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, and what funding have you been able to achieve to date? And how much funding do you think you're going to need to get this organization to a bigger and better level?
So about the funding until now, not really been much, around 5 to 6,000. But what we would need to think about it a little more and let you know.
Yeah. The scaling up of an organization and figuring out how much funds that organization needs is definitely something that needs a bit of research. And with your organization, do you have like an idea of the max amount of investors that you're thinking would be good with your organization, or has that thought yet to come up?
I not yet.
Okay. And so, yeah, let me just a second here. There's a bunch of different questions around
Yeah.
financing and money that we'll need to come back to later. Yeah. So that was the entirety of my form that I like to fill out with organizations that, are just starting out and trying to look to fundraise. And what happens is once these responses are recorded and once I do a little bit more research, I create like a little document or write up. And with that write up, we can start to think about how the organization is developing further and
Okay.
go from there.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
And do you have any questions for me at this point?
No,
No, not really.